Everybody, welcome in. Noles 24/7 instant reaction. Kevin Little, Coach AB, Chris Nee joining us. I'm Trey Rowland. What a wonderful result we have to talk about. Florida State, inept, impotent against a visibly not good Clemson team. Terrible night. Honestly, terrible night. It was a night against a Clemson team that gave up like 50 to Duke. Duke, who just lost to UConn tonight, by the way. So not good. The offense did not show up. The defense did in spurts. But it was very interesting to me in a week where the players decided to sound off for their support of their head coach. They played in a way where they want him fired tomorrow. The drops, the penalties, the lack of discipline, the lack of execution. Tommy Castellanos, terrible game. Every receiver not named Deuce Robinson, terrible game. Micah Pettis trying to apply the mandible claw for no discernible reason on a very good run by Sam Singleton. Terrible decision. Awful penalties, awful awareness, just a really, really terrible performance. And one you could tell that when moments where Florida State missed the field goal, Dabo celebrating like a goon, hard cut to a toe fungus /MRE /solar generator commercial because we live in the ACC network now. You could tell that Clemson was actually bought into this game. Your team could not care less. It was a very apathetic, meh performance against a bad team, but a bad team with a name. It still could have been a win over Clemson. And, man, you could not get the players motivated to give a boop. Gross night. I'm pretty mad. Chris, how are you feeling about it, dude? What's your overall thoughts on the game before I get to my regular compadres?
I mean, FSU had a chance in that game if they played with any level of consistency or intelligence with regards to penalties on the stretch. They have a chance down the stretch, and they decided to once again be self-harm filled football team that loves to blow its own foot off, and that was disgusting to watch. I mentioned it when we were talking prior to going live, is that like the crazy thing to me is outside of one Clemson scoring drive, everything they earned was a ton of plays, 9+ plays outside that one drive. Everything else, with the exception of that one drive, was 3 plays essentially or less. Like it was all or nothing for Clemson on the evening, but Clemson controlled that second half. They ran 9+ minutes off in the third quarter. It was 10+ minutes after a minute into fourth quarter. It was pretty clear what they were doing at that point in this game. Missed field goal by FSU is harmful. Penalties were harmful. The interception felt like it was due. They got away with probably 3 prior to that moment where it should have been picked off.
Yeah.
The fumble early on was deadly because that changes the tone of the game early on, makes it a tighter affair than it was. Clemson's not very good. FSU's not very good. It was a battle of bad. FSU was the more harmful of the two teams to themselves, and that's why it wasn't a more competitive affair. But Clemson basically knew they didn't have to do a whole lot down the stretch in that game to win that game, and that's probably the thing that's most aggravating to me. I'd sort of expected at this point with FSU. I flew to freaking California to watch them play Stanford, so at this point, like anything I get to see is not shocking. There's no more shock. Shock left the building long ago. It's just at this point disgusting.
Yeah, it was the ass bowl. Like it was 2 bad teams coming about. And the thing about it is that Clemson beat you by multiple touchdowns. And if I was a Clemson fan, they didn't even do it the easy way. They didn't do the crossing routes over the middle. I don't know if they ran mesh. They have a freaking wide receiver at running back, and they barely used him targeting FSU's linebackers. Like Clemson did it the hard way, and they still beat you by 14. And they're not good. That's the thing about it. Like watching that game, there is some sort of logo drunk feeling, right? Like it's hard to look at a guy wearing the tiger paw and it's like, oh, they can't be bad. They're Clemson. You watch the game, they're a bad team. They're a bad team that beat you by multiple touchdowns coming at FSU in an inefficient way. We broke down the Wake Forest film. Wake Forest ran mesh 3 times as much as they normally do because it's Florida State's kryptonite. Clemson beat you doing their same inefficient, like Klubnik crap, and it was enough.
Yeah, they had the one. I don't even know if it was truly mesh, but they had the one. At least it was a drag or something that crossed their face that got on Jabril.
It wasn't mesh, but yeah, it's the same idea.
Yeah, and then Jabril had the brilliant idea of slinging him out of bounds, and Dabo was wanting to the high heavens for a penalty there. And truthfully, the way that game was officiated, I'm honestly shocked that they didn't throw a penalty there because he did enough to earn a penalty there. That game was the officiating of that game was ass too, but that's far from the reason FSU lost. It was just a fine affair by the ACC officials showing that they're incompetent and morons when it comes to doing their actual job. Yeah, like.
It was such a degradation moment, Chris. Like, this is where we're at. Like, I'm having some guy with a terrible mustache trying to sell me like powdered slop, talking to me about MRE codes during the advertisements, and I'm watching Florida State lose in a very boring game that nobody will ever remember 5 seconds from now. And that's where my precious Florida State program is. It's very depressing. Kevin, what did you think of the entire affair? I mean, you're very intimately familiar with Clemson's concepts. What did you think of the game schematically?
Yeah, just a couple things. First of all, FSU's played 9 games. They've outgained opponents yards wise in 8 of those 9 games. This game included.
Cool.
They've won 4 of them. So that's kind of impressive. I don't think this staff has quite figured out that yards don't win games, points win games. So there's kind of a disconnect there with the staff. But I will say that I think schematically they put their players in a pretty decent position to win. You have the fumble in the red zone. You have the drop pass by Pittman, which might have been a touchdown. You have a missed field goal. You have all of these things that add up. And, you know, if you do convert on these relatively easy things to not mess up, I mean, you're probably looking at a much closer game, a much more interesting game. You put your guys in positions to succeed. Offensively, I would say the biggest disappointment schematically was it felt like they had no answer to those mug looks on third downs where Clemson was bringing all the linebackers to the line of scrimmage and either dropping guys out or bringing them. Florida State seemed unprepared for those. They didn't seem to be very confident in either hitting their hot or picking up the pressure when they brought pressure. And yeah, that kind of cost you when you needed them on third downs because you couldn't convert the easy things. So this team, it's a comedy of errors. They find ways to lose. They've done it every game that they've lost. They make those mistakes. You watched it. It felt like the Pitt game where you're just fumbling at the wrong times.
Florida State's a jackass compilation of a football team. Like, it really is. It's a CKY video. Like, it's disgusting. Like, it's honestly disgusting. And
I mean, I personally think that you're just starting 2 true freshmen away from being the best team in the country. So, I mean, I don't know why you're not doing that, right?
To Kev's point, FSU was credited with 4 drops officially, according to Stat Broadcast.
It felt more, though, didn't it?
Stat Broadcast is usually kind in that regard. So, like, if you want to grade it hard, it's probably at least got to know 1 or 2 to that count, but 4 that were pretty definitive. Chroma's obviously. Lucas had 1, Pittman 1. I think the other one it credited was Danzy. The other thing is the penalties. FSU actually played a really clean game for a vast majority of the game, but when they decided to start committing penalties, like, they fully committed themselves to the idea of committing penalties, and it was mind-blowing. They made it ultra difficult for them to have success on late drives, and it lengthened late drives when they're playing against a clock. It's nuts to me.
Chris, I think their first penalty was the Micah Pettis, Mr. Sacco, right? Like, I think that was their first penalty.
Yes, on the singleton run. Yes, that was their first penalty of the game. God. And then they subsequently ripped off 4 other ones after that.
Well, Adam, I waited for you third in this because I feel like we're a little bit vindicated in the way that we handled the instant reaction after Wake. Like, hey, great victory. It felt like a mirage because of watching the actual game. And we watched the film. It further solidified my point. And I want to talk to you now on the way that FSU won the Wake game. All of the opportunities that Wake gave to them, FSU was able to take advantage of in a way tonight that they were clearly not. And you knew they weren't as soon as that awful 15-yard Clemson punt. And then Tommy forgets how to run his own read. He holds it too long, tries to rip it out at the end, clear fumble. What did you make of the mindset of the team, Adam? And what do you attribute? This was the players did not perform, but when there's such wild swings in performance from the same guys, does it ultimately fall back on coaching and what we have going on as a program?
Oh, we were talking about it before we all started, and it's it's so weird to talk about this team because it doesn't feel like you could talk about anything tangible. It just feels like all the conversation goes back to when you're really evaluating it, it all heads back to soft factors. Why do they feel so tight when they're playing? Why do they feel like their buttholes are so puckered? You couldn't slide a credit card down through them thing. Why are they not? Where is that looseness? They were loose last week because they were home. What has happened? I don't think Tommy smiled once tonight again. And I talked about it a couple weeks ago, the Stanford game, when Tommy's loose and having fun, he's smiling, he's got this big smile on his face and everybody kind of feeds off that energy. But why did they feel so tight tonight? I have a hard time understanding that. Is it just
there's no confidence? They feel like I know that they're being coached by a guy who's on the guillotine, but they all kind of are playing like they're on the guillotine.
It just feels like, I don't know. It feels like Mike's just got that one tone all the time, and it feels like guys, it's so hard to come off of that.
There's
these games,
there's timid pheromones in the locker room, and now it's been ingested and metastasizing.
It's such a soft factor to even discuss. So I thought they showed up and were playing hard. Obviously, I thought when they coming out of the game that the effort and the intensity was there that you needed to go be successful. It just, when you needed to play, it just keeps coming back to it. It is a losing program right now, and they make losing plays, and nobody's football team makes more losing plays right now than Mike Norvell's, and it's constant. Tom, I'm anxious to see the all 22 on the one shot play deep. The squirrel's running wide open. I'm curious how competitive the play was. What was the ball? Was Squirrel, did he stop running on it, or did Tommy just overthrow him that much? The ball to Lucas, Tommy just, I think really the game probably boils down the most to Tommy just being bad Tommy tonight. You've gotten good Tommy in your wins. You've gotten good Tommy in some of your losses, but tonight was just bad Tommy. He was clearly outplayed by Klubnik, who was god awful in his own right, truthfully.
It's not even that he's skill wise bad, which he was, but it really is that emotional.
Yeah,
you go back to the beginning of the Virginia game. He just looked so scared, and when you zoom in on that, his personality, it seems like it follows that. But that's on the head coach to get him in a good mindset.
He's clearly a tough kid. He's clearly an absolutely warrior tough kid. Yeah. But there's something about, and what got me tonight is you locked horns with Clemson, and they didn't physically outmatch you. You got to see physically that it's not a good Clemson team, and that wasn't enough to spark the self-belief. There's just something about this team, and we kind of saw it in the early Norvell teams, and it's creeping back, where there was a mental block, learning how to win. It sounds so stupid, but this team doesn't really know how to succeed very well. And Chris, I don't know, you've had a lot of frame of reference to look at a lot of FSU teams, but have you ever met one that was so insecure? You have the weapons. You've actually had some success against Clemson in this game. Go out there and pile drive them into the ground. What do you think it is, man? What a weird performance.
Program has sucked on the road over the last 2 years. They haven't won a road game in the league since, I believe it was Pitt in November of 23, correct?
You're 100% correct. Do you think that do you think that that has something to
It's
do with the way
it's
that they handle the road, like the way that they handle road
no,
games in general?
I don't think they handled Stanford correctly with regards
Right.
to time change and some of that stuff. In
Mhm.
general, no, I don't think that's the case. I think they just don't handle road games well mentally. Like for whatever reason, they cannot approach a road game, save their life, where they seem like they're comfortable, confident, got a good level of energy. Like it's not good. Stanford was dreadful. Consistently, road games feel differently than home games, and it's not like they're going into places that are ultra intimidating. No offense to Clemson. Clemson is a great place, but I'm saying in general over the course of the last now almost 2 years.
Right.
They just kind of suck if we're being honest. Like I mean, just to be honest, like they're not a good football team.
Mhm.
And like when they have the opportunity to maximize what they can be on a given night, they tend to do a horrendous job of doing that. And tonight, I felt like that was a bigger thing than anything. Like first half, I think they threw it 20 times, ran it about 10 or 11 times. They only ran it with the backs 5 times in the first half, if I recall
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
That's just nuts to me. Like that's on the coaching staff as much as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have Tommy Castellanos throwing 43 times. Is that where we landed on the evening? I
Mhm.
think it was 38.
23
or
of
close to it.
43.
Yeah,
for
you can't
250.
have that. That's you're not paying the guy $800K a year to be that quarterback. Like, come on, what the hell are we doing?
How many
Like,
did you throw against Bama? You threw it like 14 goddamn times. Like what? Like just
they have an
I don't
identity
get it,
crisis in
man.
the sense of other than Deuce Robinson, there's nothing reliable about their offense at this stage. They've not allowed a running back to become a reliable piece of the offense, and the quarterback's banged up and can't be the rushing reliable piece he once was. So, like, offensively, your identity is Deuce is good, and then other than that, who the hell knows what's actually going to happen? Randy Pittman's usually consistent, but that drop tonight was pretty brutal. Certainly hurt him at the point it happened in the game. And then defensively, they're just not a very good football team. I mean, like on that side of the ball, nothing about that defensive line is worth writing home about. I'm tired of talking about that group because that group doesn't do anything to alter games consistently. The Desir twins have been good and made an impact in their own right. Darrell Jackson's been fine in his own right. But as a group, that group does not impact football games. And it's not like the linebackers are stepping up to do it. In the secondary, well, it has some good moments. It also can be picked on at times. Edwin Joseph on that touchdown throw, that's a play where he should be much more competitive with Antonio Williams, I believe it was, on that play, and he was not.
Mhm.
So, like, I'm so far gone with caring about the week to week with this team.
Yep.
And I have been since I left Stanford because I was done at that point with what I was watching.
Oh yeah.
Like, the thing that aggravates me about this evening is I don't feel like Clemson played a very good football game. And FSU had an opportunity to make that a football game, make it far more interesting, and it never felt very competitive throughout the entirety of that football game. And that's on FSU more than it's on Clemson doing something to FSU.
And it's a weird phenomena watching this team because they snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. Like if the defense is having a good performance, like they kind of were tonight, like it was okay, better than I expected, right? A lot of it's because I think Clemson attacked you like honestly morons. They should have attacked you in the way that is established to attack FSU, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. The defense was playing good. So it's like, hey, I'm the offense. I'm going to play terrible. Like they find ways, like if one unit of the team is doing well, the other one will inevitably drop the ball so that you will lose. Like it's very rare that you get the consistent team performance, right, Adam? Like
If you would have told me you were going to hold Clemson to 24, I would have thought you
easy
would
win. Easy win.
I don't know about easy, but I would have thought you would have won.
I would have thought easy, dude. They gave up a bajillion to Duke. Like
as we've seen, like the defense is, week in and week out has found ways to just absolutely be terrible. Like tonight, it was your offense just let you down time and time again. I mean, the Lucas drop, then you go to the Pittman drop, then
there's a Danzy drop.
Yeah, there's a
Pettis
Danzy drop
penalty.
in there, a squirrel overthrow. And you get in the second half, and it's just full press at this point. We're done running the football, and I don't know, man. And like I said, it's so awkward to talk about at this point now. As Chris said, first off, we're all done talking about this team week to week. There's not a fan, there's not an analyst, there's nobody that discusses this team that wants to be doing it week to week. We're all ready for Mike Norvell era to be over, for the hot board season to fire up, and to get this thing moving forward because this is over and done with. Like It's time to be done with the Mike Norvell experience.
And not because we want to, but because
Oh, I
this.
want to at this point.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna mince words. Like,
totally want to.
I want to. Like, it's over,
not
man.
because when I say I want to, not because anybody has a personal distaste for the guy.
Personal.
It's a done deal, bro.
Yeah.
It's cooked. The turkey's cooked, man.
There's
It's
no
done.
reason to believe that it's going to correct itself. Like, you're
No,
2 years
my
into it being an
God.
utter freaking mess. Your recruiting isn't up to snuff, and you don't operate the program in the fashion that it needs to be operated in for it to be what it's supposed to be. And it's not trending in that direction either. It's not a going from 4 or 5 wins to something more significant. It's the fact that there is nothing that's consistent about this program week to week over the last 2 years that makes you believe that it's going to suddenly trend in the correct direction.
Well, you've never heard of the lose big, lose small, win big, lose big.
Kev, we've already squeezed that orange.
Yeah.
Once you squeeze an orange, you can't squeeze it again.
Yeah, it looks like a cardiogram.
I'm pretty sure that's it's the saying, right? You just
It's
go back
insane
into losing
because this guy, it's when you think about the Florida State that we all grew up on, he's had 6 seasons here, and 4 of them have been fireable offenses for the Florida State program.
Yeah. 23 was the opportunity to capitalize and turn it into something with some level of consistency, and you crash and burn in 24. And the only reason you were able to keep your job after winning only 2 games at Florida State is the fact that it was, Fort Knox level of money to get rid of you. And it still is to some degree to do that. But there's a element of like the next week for us is going to be, can FSU get bowl eligible? Like, holy shit, is that what I'm talking about?
Again,
no thanks. Don't want to be doing that. That's not what I'm interested in. That's not what the program should be about.
Nee, do you remember in like 2007 when they had Lorenzo Booker and Leon Washington and we were playing in the Emerald Walnut Bowl
I knew you were going to
San
go to the Emerald
Francisco?
Bowl.
Because that was like anathema to like Florida State fans. Like, oh my God, we're like 6-6 playing in this crap bowl. Like, this is disgusting. Who are we? And now we're begging and praying to play in the Bad Boy Mowers, Toe Fungus, Patriot MRE, solar powered hot plate MRE cooker bowl in like Little Rock, Arkansas.
A bit
begging for that.
A bit of me died tonight when Adazio goes, next week's FSU VT game is going to be a real battle.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. He said it. I'm like, damn, he's right. That really hurts.
I mean, the reality is Clemson's going to go not be good the rest of the year.
They're not going to be bowl eligible either, dude.
Florida State's going to be lucky to win another game. And
I don't know. Can South Carolina score enough to beat Clemson? Kurt Roper offenses. It's an experience.
That Clemson team's bad.
Here, I'll one up you guys. If they fire Norvell, I'll shave my beard.
Ooh, I'll shave mine too.
You got clippers. You got clippers that can handle
that
type of foliage.
It's gotta be like the next.
I don't know, man. Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't want to, and this is why we handled the last. We did, dude. They kicked UCLA's ass. I totally agree.
Yeah,
Brian Bruce, 7962.
Booker went off.
This is just dumb, dude. Just end it. Like, you're Florida State. Like, there's all this. Well, who could we get? It's a competitive. Anything would be better than this. If you say any name that is associated to any hot board, it would be better than this. And I just think it's because the message, nobody cares. It's a toxic environment, and it's done. You could say any name right now. Say it in the comments. And I could tell you that it would be better than 4-5 against a weak goose down, 1,000 thread count, Egyptian cotton schedule in year 6. It would be better than this. And I just want better than this, dude. I want FSU to be what FSU needs to be. But whatever. Okay, that's tough. That's tough. That's a lot of saliva. Saliva aside, it would be better than this. It's done. It's a done deal. Chris, I just think, what do you go?
Legit Billy Napier, I think. What's Billy Napier's record against FSU?
Like, you just need to look at this program as a whole. If you're an investor or an administrator, the fact that you cannot go on the road and be successful in this conference in some of the settings that you're playing in, that alone is enough for me. I mean, you're playing some bad teams on the road, and you're not really even competitive in some of these games. I mean, I didn't feel like they were. I mean, they weren't competitive to me in that Stanford game. They might have come down to the last play. They were not competitive in that game to me.
They haven't really been competitive in any of their losses, no matter what the score says.
I thought they were,
except for Virginia. That's it.
Yeah.
One.
But and Pitt too.
No, Pitt outplayed you the entire game, dude.
I don't disagree, but you had your chances anyway. It just like you can't be that incompetent going on the road. Like that falls at the firmly at the feet of the head coach. So if you want to make excuses about a lot of other stuff, and I said, I don't know if I said to you guys or said to somebody else, like I was waiting for a while for Mike to give the famous Jimbo an inch away speech tonight, because it did feel like they were an inch away at times tonight, but man, we're in year 6. I'm just so over this shit.
I was just informed by ChatGPT that Billy Napier and Mike Norvell do not have direct head-to-head record against each other, as they've never been head coaches for teams that have played each other. Napier coached Florida, while Norvell coached Florida State during their time in the SEC and ACC. So there you go,
guys. Be careful. Be careful. Maybe write your own essays, man. Like, don't rely on that too heavily. Chris, I mean, where are we at, dude? We technically, I guess not technically, we have 3 games left of this. Is there any chance that you know what? This is the question everybody wants to know. Was this enough?
I don't know. I gotta make those phone calls and texts.
I know, but just gut. You don't know yet, but gut feeling.
I mean, I thought Stanford was enough, for the love of God, personally. After having conversations with people post Stanford about why it didn't happen and such, I mean, there's people that understand it needs to happen. They understood it needed to happen before this evening was ever played. And some of those people are pretty significant in the food chain of those who have some say in everything that happens here. The thing is getting that trio of the hierarchy on the same page that it needs to happen. And that's Alford, McAuliffe, and BOT/Collins, but specifically Collins. Yeah. Once you get there, yeah, it happens. If it wasn't a financial figure, it would have been done. And It's not a matter of not being able to pay. It's a matter of it's a hell of a lot to have to deal with financially when you've already done a lot of stuff financially in the last 24 months with regards to the football program. But like, this can't continue. There's no sense in this continuing. Last year, their own words, they doubled down. They went and reinvested in the roster. They went and made coaching changes and hires. If you take a matter-of-fact look at that, the roster isn't very good. So you spend a lot of money on something that's not very good. Your defensive coordinator hire, while I think highly of Tony White as an X's and O's intelligent person football coach, it's not working here.
No.
And with Gus Malzahn, it's a retread. And it was always a retread. And I understood why Gus was the hire, especially with the relationship with Mike. But, like, it's a retread. And you went with Tommy Castellanos as your quarterback selection. Like, I'm not trying to take a dump on a kid because of a game. I never was high on the idea of Tommy being your quarterback unless you built it around him in a certain way where it would make up for his shortcomings. The issue is too often this year you've had to lean into those shortcomings, and it's just not going to work. Like, we know what he is as a quarterback. He's a competitive kid who can run effectively, especially when healthy. He can make some vertical throws, but he's an inconsistent passer, and he's not a guy that's very good at down-to-down football, and this offense is very good at down-to-down football. It's just nuts to me to think that you should entrust the people in the building to try to do it again. To me, that's utterly crazy, and it's also expensive. Like, I get it's expensive to fire them and go hire people, and there's nothing that brings certainty to the hires working, which is everybody's gamble when they're making coaching changes in the college football landscape. But it's idiotic to continue on with what you have currently.
But what costs more money, Mike Norvell's salary per year or the roster spend per year? It's like,
the roster spends a bigger figure.
Exactly.
You're going to spend that anyway.
I know. I don't want
Mike's number would be dead money.
Right. I don't want that guy having control of the bigger number. I'm sorry.
Especially,
like, it doesn't work. It hasn't worked. It ain't going to work. He threw it 43 times tonight.
Especially if you're investing a lot of money in a running back who, I think we all, maybe Kev doesn't, but the majority of us think that he's a good, really talented player and going to be. And then it just doesn't. Where is he consistently in the game plan week in and week out?
He ain't getting better either, by the way. That's another thing. This guy that you've developed as a running back out of high school who is preternaturally talented. He is a very talented prospect. He's not that much better from week 2 or 3 than he is now. You're not even developing these massive assets that you have. There's no development. There's no wins. Like, there's no consistency. What are we doing? Just end it, dude.
Can I just address this comment? This
There's
guy
a
says it's clear Norvell isn't the only problem. Will the other problems be addressed? Norvell is the only problem. We have a clean experiment.
No,
he's the one that brought these people in.
I think he's
thinking Alfred possibly. I think he's
okay.
also
Well, yes.
possibly thinking
Sorry.
about GM structure of a front office.
Uh-huh.
The way it's all
If that's what you're talking
together.
about, then sorry. I thought you were
And-
like, why are we not complaining about Thomas Castellanos? Okay, whatever.
No, we did. They
No,
played
I
like
think
crap,
it's the
but
bigger
yeah.
picture stuff of
That's fair.
how it's all done beyond just head coach. Like Mike is a huge problem. He's one that's above the entire organization. It falls on his shoulders. But like, yeah, the construction of a roster, the way it's done at FSU, that needs to change. It's needed to change for years. You can't have players on your roster that are getting paid money who either A, are taking large chunks of money and not giving you much of anything in return, or B, taking smaller chunks of money and giving you absolutely nothing in return. Because you can build a good roster depth-wise with some of those cheaper pieces than FSU's done effectively in the last 2 years, especially.
Oh my God. And the thing too is the way the roster's constructed, it's so uneven where you have visible position groups that can be picked on week after week after week after week with consistent levels of success. And you could even still lose when teams like Clemson don't decide to pick on them very much. Like it's just dumb, dude.
Yeah, it was weird they didn't go after the linebackers more. They did it a little bit
Bill
early.
Riley is a
and then
moron.
they kind of went away from it. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, stupid, dude. The book is written on how to beat FSU, man.
Clemson held the ball for 34 minutes. I felt like Clemson never felt concerned.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I felt like they were in control, willing to take 3 instead of 7, and just own the ball, shorten the game, play it out. That offense, you know, if we don't allow what we allowed Duke to do from a Clemson viewpoint, we're going to be in a good position. Because like Duke got behind them twice. They also hit one on a cornerback blitz where nobody ended up covering for 3 huge plays plus a kick return for a touchdown. That essentially equated to 28 of the 46 points they allowed to Duke. FSU really didn't have any of that success. Pittman play obviously was one where their opportunity existed, but it was not executed.
No, they kind of treated you like a scrappy App State, dude. Like they didn't feel concerned. They did just enough to like always keep you in the rear view. A lot of teams do that to FSU. They get up by their 15, they get up by their 20, and then it's just they kind of coast because they're not worried about you because you're not intimidating. You are a timid team full of unsuccessful people, led by an unsuccessful man, championed by an unsuccessful administration. There is no threat. We are unthreatening. We are a Lisa Frank Trapper Keeper football program. We are a Build-A-Bear unicorn of a football program. We do not concern anyone. We do not threaten anyone. We are there, and we have a name, and they'll use our name to beat us, and that's it. They don't care, dude.
New November.
Yeah, that was great.
We'll
guys,
always have New November, guys. We'll always have it. Now is it Old November again? Or are we
I
back to
don't
Old
know.
November?
Do you guys have anything else that you want to add? I mean, the elephant in the room is it's Operation Dumbo Drop. It is growing inside. Like we know it has to be done. You know it has to be done. This ain't working. It's not going to work. The longer you cling to it, the more long-term damage you're going to do. Whatever. We get it. We all know what has to happen. Adam or Kev, do you guys have anything else you want to add on
Yeah,
this game?
I got a question for everybody. Was there an outcome outside of a win that would have made everybody feel, I don't know, better is not the right word, but that would make you feel differently right now?
Like, what do you mean? Like outside of like
I
a
would-
not like a loss that would have made you
would
feel
a
better?
tough competitive loss felt okay? Would you feel differently about
If
things?
Tommy
or-
Castellanos got injured on the first play, and then you go
I'm-
out there
I'm being
and lose
serious.
in
I'm asking a serious
overtime,
question.
maybe.
Would a hard fought competitive loss where you just didn't shit down your pants the entire game?
No, I think Kev actually, he was kind of tongue in cheek, but I think he has a point. If all of your veteran contributors that are probably gone after this year, like if there was a mass casualty event where Tommy and like 3 of the offensive linemen were like
and-
lost, yeah, honestly, and you played a close loss to Clemson with a bunch of young guys, a bunch of future building pieces, then yeah, I would have felt good because this Clemson team is visibly bad. Like this is a run-of-the-mill, like Boston College team. This is a bad NC State team, the Clemson team that you beat tonight. So no, any outcome of losing to them, I don't even care if it's close because they stink. They're not good. So the only scenario where I would have felt good is honestly Kev's that he was like screwing around about. Like if a bunch of guys overperformed, like, because then I go, oh my God, I finally feel like I'm building towards something again, which I haven't felt in a long time. We're not going towards anything, dude. It's just 1 year and then rinse and wash and pray that it's good. It's just over and over. So no, the only scenario is the funny kind of hypothetical that Kev laid out. If like 3 of the offensive linemen, Deuce and Tommy, rolled their ankles on the first play of the game and Florida State lost by 3, then I'd feel good. Other than that, who cares, dude?
I wouldn't have felt better even with a win, to be honest. Like in the bigger picture of it all, I'd
Mhm.
prefer FSU to win games. I've been pretty adamant about that, but like I don't care. Like I left Stanford and was ultra comfortable, in my opinion, that the whole thing needs to be changed. And I don't think there's anything that can move me off that, no matter what they did down the stretch, good, bad, or ugly. My main disappointment about this evening is that, one, I didn't think Clemson was a very good football team. I leave that game not thinking Clemson's a very good football team, but I also don't feel like FSU did a very good job competing to their best level in the sense of putting themselves in a position to have a shot of winning that game. And the truth is, like, you won last week. You felt happy, joy about it, whatever it was that team wanted to express about that. And you showed no level of the ability to have any level of consistency with the way you went about playing a football game on consecutive weeks. And that has been a repeating theme for this program for way too long now. And I'm just like, it's not even head scratching. It's just to the point where, like, to me, that's one of the most incriminating things about Mike Norvell and the operation is that there is no consistency. Even their bad is inconsistent with how they're bad. It's not like they're bad the same way over and over, rinse and repeat. There are some things that show up, but they find different ways. And I'm so far gone with having an interest in covering this program under its current operation that it blows my mind. Like, I'm going to do it because it's my damn job and I get paid to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do it to the best of my ability without injecting my personal opinion on that when I'm writing about it and having conversations about it. But, like, I don't think it gets fixed under the current regime. And I think there needs to be dramatic change for it to go in the direction it should be going at a place like Florida State that is as committed financially to football as they are.
And to be honest with you, the only thing that has shown any sort of like DNA throughout the entire tenure of Mike is that inconsistency, man.
Yeah,
You almost beat Notre Dame. You lose to Jacksonville State. 22, you have that weird win streak. 23, they were living by the skin of their teeth multiple times against teams that they were better than.
But they did find ways to win that year.
Yeah, they did. But when you think about the actual talent on that roster, Tatum Bethune killing it in the NFL, Renardo Green, maybe one of the best cornerbacks, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, like Jordan Travis pre-injury, Keon Coleman, Trey Benson. That team should have been demolishing people. And they were inconsistent. Like, they won their games, but, dude, they made it way too close. That inconsistency, when you think about the hallmarks of the Norvell tenure, It's unfortunately consistent inconsistency. And that is unacceptable for the amount of investiture, the amount of money that is spent, the amount of fan support, the amount of interest, the amount of prestige that the logo carries. And we know it. Everybody else knows it. How long will it allow to be tolerated? We'll find out. I don't have anything more. This game is making me more mad as we continue to talk about it. Kevin, Adam, Chris, do you guys have anything more before we skedaddle?
Nope. Norvell comments are up on the site if people want to go put themselves through that.
Have you seen those, Chris?
I have not.
Are the comments up? Last I saw it was just the video. Or
it's the video. I don't know if we'll have a full transcript.
Okay.
Maybe I'll work on that when I get off this.
Go to bed.
I
Go to bed. Dude.
I don't sleep, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brendan was just texting me on the side as he was going through the press conference. I believe Brendan asked him specifically about the direction of the program, which I feel like, it's a broken record for us at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked him where he stood with the people in charge after Stanford, and
it wasn't about him.
We got a statement on Monday that said where he stood with them, and we've gone from there, and we live 1 week at a time, and here we are living another week. Where does he get fired? Do they make a judgment now? Do they legitimately wait till the end of the year? There's not a good time to make the judgment. The calendar of college football doesn't really allow that anymore. And I've said this on other things. Part of the reason they didn't want to do it after Stanford was they believed the team would fall apart essentially over the final 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We're now at the point where there's 3 weeks left. And I get AB disagreeing with it. I don't really agree with it either, but that was a legitimate
That's their
reason.
mindset, yeah.
Yes, that was a legitimate reason that was shared with me. We're now at the point where there's 3 weeks left. When you fire a coach, usually there's some level of a bump, nothing significant, but usually at least it focuses a team in the sense of, well, you guys played a role in that guy getting fired. Congrats. Yeah. Does FSU play to that for VTech or NC State or Florida, the all interim bowl possibly against Florida?
Dude, look at Penn State against Indiana today. Look at like Florida against Georgia. They might win more of these next 3 without a head coach than they would with one. Who cares? Anyway, go to the site, Noles27.com, subscribe. I'm out of things to say. We all know what needs to be done. We're just waiting until it does. Anyway, love you guys. Florida State loses again. Surprise, surprise. Keep chopping.
Chippity chop.
I hate it.